Good morning, everyone. Again, so just want to start with a simple question. I want everyone to be interactive, so the session will also be very interactive, and through that, we'll also understand, the fellow women who are traveling with us and how we are going to, get motivation or to start the investments. So first, what women were never told about money. So we just want to start with that, and just want to start with a simple question: how many of you earn your own money? You can just give a thumbs up. You can put it in the chat box. Yes, no. If you're a homemaker, you can put you are a homemaker. Okay, I see a thumbs up from a lot of people. So now tell me honestly, how many of you decide what to do with the money? So you're earning and the money is coming in, the income is coming in. So how many of you decide what to do with that money? Okay, few of them are deciding. It's actually a good thing to start with. But so sometimes the gap is not in the income, right? It's mostly in control. Because we see women who come to Kodeeswari to become a part of Kodeeswari, or who just inquire about Kodeeswari and who have attended the past webinars, workshops. So they earn well, they save, they spend. So basically, they handle EMI reminders, bill payments, insurance renewals, all that is there. But the moment when it comes to investing, right, we quietly say, my husband handles it, my father handles it. So financial independence is not majorly on your salary slip. If we can say, I know, I'm earning, so everything is sorted, right? I save, and that's enough, right? But financial independence is when you can actually say, I know where my money sleeps at night. So basically, when you also sleep at night, money should work for you. And you don't need a permission to learn about money, right? All you need is curiosity only. So today we are not majorly in my session. For the first 20 minutes it will be more on talking about ownership, because when you own your money, then especially when you own your money, no one else can write your ending. So it's basically to understand why we need to own the money instead of just earning, saving, and spending. And most of us didn't actually grow up hearing about money conversations at home. At least most of us not really do, right? So it is mostly don't talk money about in front of guests. Girls shouldn't worry about such things. These are all things that we heard and we wrote. So what did we do? We carried the silence into adulthood also. So now the delegation became dependency. We believed being taken care of was security actually, but it was actually invisibility. So this generation didn't have choices. Now we need to take care of your our own financial independence. And I am not good with money. We need to replace that with I am learning every week. Because money it's not for this particular gender or that particular gender. It respects discipline. So what you need to work on is that you need to replace I'm not good with money with I am learning every week. So that's where this unspoken truth will come into a picture. And mostly, if you look into it, how many of you feel like you are running on like 200% battery all the time, like job, kids, parents, homes, and some WhatsApp groups that never end with, with all the shopping things that coming into our WhatsApp. So you can just give a thumbs up. How many of you really feel like you are handling the family's financial and emotional load, doing multitasking? Because we multitask better than Google Calendar, right? But where are we in that schedule? Women usually manage everyone's future except their own. The emotional labor is invisible because, and so your wealth is also, if you don't track it, you can't pour from an empty wallet, right? So self care isn't just skincare. It's also net worth care. We need to understand, and we have to make it very normal saying, this month I'm topping up my SIP, or because my future deserves the same energy I give everyone else. So self investment rarely makes it to the to do list, and especially the cost of it is your future goals take the backseat. So now it's the time, whatever happened in the previous generation, they didn't have much choices, but we do have. So now we need to understand that, and we have to make it very normal saying, I'm topping up this month my SIP, I'm gonna step up, I'm gonna do a lump sum. So it's not only about the skincare or the taking care of yourself. It's more about how your net worth also grow, how your money also grow. And there is a mini hack that you
Archana,
can.
one
Yeah.
second. Can I just add something here?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah. Like how Archana mentioned that it's not just about taking care of yourself or doing that skincare, right? It is about putting ourselves first, right? We always forget to do that. Forget self investment rarely makes it to the to do list. Like self itself rarely makes it to the to do list. Forget investment. I think it's about time. And I also do see a lot of change that is coming about, that has been coming about in the recent past. Women are taking the wheel, they are steering their lives, they are writing their own stories. So it's, although it's great to see such a change, but the rate at which it's happening maybe not so great. So we want to do this presentation for all of you, so you realize your potential and you realize how important it is to put yourself first, finish or try and tick your boxes first before you tick others. But I understand that as women, it comes naturally to us to do things for the family, do things for friends first, and then prioritize ourselves. But I think it's time that we change that. First, prioritize ourselves, figure out what we want to do, what is it that we want to achieve, and then uh, take care of the rest. Of course, family will always be there, but we have to make sure that our goals never take that backseat. Okay. Thanks, Achana. You can continue.
So adding to her point, what you can actually do instead is, you know, if you feel that or being automating any investments will help you, you can automate your investments on salary day. So whoever are already onboarded with us on Kodeeswari as well as for in Milestones to Wealth, uh, we always tell them start with the SIP, which is basically when your salary hits your pocket, automate your investments. If it is automatic, it is consistent. That's what we have seen. Because people who ever say, let me do it whenever I have extra cash, that never happens. But when it is automatic, it is consistent. Because like, doing a daily course and brushing our teeth, it's more like you don't feel like doing it, you just do, it's automatic. So that is something that you can think about when you start your investments also. And especially now for working women, right? We celebrate promotions, new roles, higher pay. But how often do we celebrate a higher portfolio value? Meaning, how often do we celebrate we started an investment, we are now into good milestones, we reach 2 lakh, 5 lakh, and money is working for us. So we think I have a good job, I'm secure. So basically, it's more like I have a good job, so I am secure. But truth is, job security is definitely not wealth security. So what if your paycheck stops? Let's say we are taking maternity leave for some time, like for like 1 year or so, and or maybe we stop working for some time till the child grows up. All these are happening, right? Like when this paycheck stops, what continues? We need to think about that. So most working women we know have good income, but they don't know much about the net worth, which is basically the assets they are building for themselves. So wealth is not always about how much you make, it's about what you keep and grow. So if you think about it, when you think about real success, right? It's not now, at this generation, at this point of time, it's not about coming out and going for a job and Basically, it's adding another layer on top of it, which is where your money starts working even when you stop. So you climb the career ladder. Now you climb your capital ladder. Okay, you are in a good job, you are getting promotions, new roles are coming up. Similarly, your investments should also grow. So in capital ladder also, you need to go to the next step. And you don't need to understand markets, right? Like because here you need to understand what is your goal, and for that goal, where you need to invest. So if on the coming slides about how to understand what is a mutual fund and how to to have a goal in place in order to invest, Aishwarya Mahesh will help us understand all those. But now you must have a mindset before you start your investments. So that correct mindset is, you have to just understand that your CTC is more temporary, and your corpus will be there whenever you need. Whenever a financial goal is coming up, whenever you need money, a financial corpus will help more. So even whenever where there is a salary hike, right, you can increase your SIP by 10%. Basically, this is something that you can say yourself, this is a promotion bonus that you are gifting yourself for your future self. Because we save for our kids, we save for our dream home, we save for a lot more things, we save for others. But these kind of promotion bonus and all that, you can say this is for your future self, and you can increase your SIP by 10% or so. So, but there are some financial blind spots. Whenever we talk to women of our age and who are all working, or maybe some of the homemakers also. So, let's talk about this biggest financial illusion, thinking I'll start when I have more money. Now, suddenly, no one suddenly will have more money, right? So you make space for money. Many women know ATM pins. It's like they know what is their ATM pin, but do they really know how much their mutual fund can grow in portfolio, like the value can grow? They know where to find the electricity bill, but do they know where is their if the husband has taken a life term insurance, where is the nomination form, and what are the insurance that he has, and what is the portfolio that he has? So if something happens tomorrow, will your family find your financial details easily? That is some question. That's called financial hygiene. Definitely you should sit and talk it with your husband, or if you are just starting out your career, then think about having a term insurance and a health insurance in place, instead of spending too much on retail therapy, which we feel good for 5 minutes, but overspending, or because there is a sale, buying a lot more things, thinking that we deserve luxury. These are all overspending, quietly steals our future, steals you from your future self. So basically, it's not about having crores on the first time itself, like in a year or two. It's more about having a clarity. When you know your numbers, right, you control your future very clearly. So the point here is that we basically, we have all fallen for this "you deserve it" trap. That new dress, that expensive car, something that we bought the last minute, especially the last minute Amazon cart. Marketing teams are brilliant. They sell us emotion wrapped up in EMI. But empowerment is more not like a, it's not like a retail therapy, right? It's a strategy. Like, basically ask yourself, am I spending to feel powerful, or am I investing to become powerful? This is the question that you should ask right now. So I'm spending in a luxury thing, or I'm spending on the Amazon cart. I got a promotion hike. I'm just gonna spend on what I want to buy, or that makes me feel powerful. Whether you are in this side, or are you investing to become powerful? So you deserve the comfort of knowing your money is growing. So next time, you can say, instead of "I deserve this," make sure your SIP is also hearing it. You can actually try this 24-hour rule, which one of our colleagues, she usually do does this. If she wants to buy something over 1500 or 2000, right, she just waits for a day, she put it in a cart, she just leaves it as such, and most of that emotional spending fades with sleep itself. So next day when she comes back to the cart again, she'll not be having that urge to spend that money and buy that good. Maybe it is not needed for her at all. So basically, if you really have the urge to spend more, especially during market sale, or especially during this kind of festive season where things are very attractive and you are thinking with EMI it makes sense, just think it over for a 24-hour, put it in the cart, leave it aside and think it over, and then you may feel this is not something that you actually need. This may be a want you can postpone for some time, but it's not a necessity to go for right away. And when you uh, speak about this pink trap where there is a lot of spending that is happening, right, there is also something you need to understand. uh, One tough truth, which is women live longer. We take career breaks, we manage family priorities, but we often end up, if you see, we see women often end up financially behind because inflation is not going to take a break. So we have to plan very differently. The goal isn't like depend on someone else, it's basically to depend on your plan more. There should be a plan, there should be a goal. And retirement is not an age. Basically you say you reach 60 and you are retired. It's more like a stage. You're gonna live off your investments, the money you made through the investments post retirement only. So the day your investments start paying your bills, right, you don't need to depend on the salary. Your investment is going to take care of that, and that's your real freedom day. So your money should outlive your career, your confidence and your dreams. So which means your money should be invested in a better place so that the money works for you and you don't work for money forever. And whenever you get a bonus or even a 50% of it, of the bonus, that you can put it as a freedom fund. Basically you put aside. If you are starting new, definitely you should consider doing this, to start something, to put something for your retirement. So definitely we cannot be blindly dependent on the child also, right? We don't want to, because they do have their own commitments. Inflation is also playing a very important role in their lives also. So when we retire, right, we should have some good corpus from which we can take our own pension, so that we are not dependent on, financially dependent on anyone else. So now the script that we need to rewrite, right, we have been taught to be very very careful, like don't take risk, don't talk about money, don't ask questions. So these are all something that, basically these are all two types, right? One is where the society, the environment, or maybe the family, they also think or make us think the same way, and we sometimes actually bar ourselves from not doing anything, or we don't want to take risk and we don't want to talk about money and we don't want to ask any questions. So this generation, we have digital wallets, we have mutual funds, and like this workshops, like there are so many things on YouTube, the financial literacy is actually available on your hand. So now you are not living in that world anymore. You don't need to ask for permission. Maybe you need to take some action. Replace I am scared, I'll make mistake with I'll start small and learn. Because not even when maybe the people you know, or the people who referred you for this workshop, or maybe you have seen your fellow or your surroundings or your husband who is doing something in the mutual fund, they would have reached good portfolio, they would have they are doing regularly doing investments. All of them, they may be started with very small amount. It's not like you are gonna put an entire amount of, like, you want to start with 1 lakh or you want to start with 10 lakh. It's not that. You can start with a very small SIP called 1000 per month also, or maybe 100 per month also. The point is, even what if I lose? This is what I usually hear from a lot of women. But replace it with what if I win? Because the only bad investment, right, is the one that never started. We had multiple workshops, we are reaching out to a lot of women, and yet post the workshop, all we get as as a whenever we reach out asking them to start a new investment. And it's all about like, well, I'm scared, what if I make a mistake, or what if I lose? These are the questions that we have. But in this workshop, we just want to tell you that whatever the rupee that you invest right now will actually rewrite the whole story of your life, and you are your own financial plan. So when you look at it, even 1,000 SIP today, just first of all, you can forget returns, because as of now, it's just a beginning. Because all you need to look into is basically shifting your mindset, so that this mindset shift is what is very important as of now. And instead of saying you are being careful, you can say you are being very confident. And with every rupee invested now, you can be the next Kodeeswari. We already have 100 Kodeeswaris who are traveling with us, you know Kodeeswari clients who are traveling with us, and we are very happy to say this here. And all of them had a similar fight when they started it before. When they started before with us, they all had similar queries of, what if I lose, what if the money goes down, I don't understand what is happening in the investments and all that. But they slowly understand how things work. So even let's say, if you are putting a chit, in, let's say, a gold chit, in a in a particular jewelry firm. And do you know where that money is going? All you know is, whenever you want to redeem the cash, you are going to get the benefit. But till then, where the money is invested, are they really taking a 1 gram of gold and keeping it for you in your name? Do you know where the money is going, what is happening? No, right? But you still do, because you understand that the money keeps growing in the form of gold, and you can take it whenever you want to realize. Or once the 11 months installment or 12 months installment is over, you are gonna get the money back as in the form of gold. Similarly, here also the money grows when the companies grows, and your money is going to work for you, especially for a longer term. Whatever that you do on a gold, on anything else, those will be of shorter term. But when you really look into it, mutual funds are for longer term stories, especially something for your retirement, something for your children's education, all that. You can think of their marriage, your home, or maybe you start your own business. For all that, this money is going to help you, because this money is not only growing, at it's actually growing to grow at a higher level that you can't imagine. So all that I want to address is that it's all about the invisible walls we need to break. And I think in the next half, in the coming slides, uh, Aishwarya Mahesh will take us through the bridge, basically how to cross those walls and make your first crore through the Kodeeshwari way. But before that, you need to remember, your money doesn't need perfection. You just start participating in the opportunities, so that your money starts working for you. So moving on to the next slide. So we discussed about, what are the things that we shouldn't do. Maybe we shouldn't buy whenever we feels like buying. Maybe we shouldn't think like, once we get good salary, we are financially independent. What we should think of, basically, getting a few things right will pay off. One is, have a budget. So basically, before you start, you get the salary in your in your pockets, right? Think about how much you can save. Usually people say, your income minus expenses is your savings. But I thought, in Kodishwari, we say it the other way around, where your income minus your savings is equal to expenses. So you need to think about, what you can do, how much you can save every month, to the least. At least you can save this much amount. So have a budget. Put your discretionary expenses, non-discretionary expenses, basically what are all your needs, what are all your wants. And with this budget, you can be able to understand at the start of the month how much you have planned for, and at the end of the month how much you have actually spent. So it may seems very boring, but it is not going to take much of your time. Maybe 10 minutes or 15 minutes every month you spend on having a budget, which will really help you understand where the money is unnecessarily going. And insure yourself. You must have a term insurance and health insurance in place. If you are a working woman, you must have a term insurance, and for working women, especially for women, the premium is much lesser than for men. So if you are well covered with term and life term insurance as well as health insurance, you are sorted. If there is some emergency or unexpected health emergency comes up, you don't need to your savings. You don't need to take money out of your savings. You can use this insurance to claim it. And be tax efficient. Understand, if you are anyways from this year, if you are less than in the 12 lakh slab, you are not gonna pay any tax. But there are other things that are there, that is there. Basically, if you are having if you're having any home loan repayment, then the interest can be waived off. So, and even if you are still in old regime, you can still waive off your insurance premium that you are paying every year. So, and then diversify savings, which is very important. You shouldn't put everything in the same basket. For emergency fund, you can have it in a liquid fund or in a FD, where you can break it and take it whenever there is an emergency. And for your each financial goal, you can put it in a mutual fund. For maybe for your marriage, you're saving some money up, you can put it in gold. So you should think about diversifying your savings, not put everything in the same basket. And manage your loans well. So basically, if you have any EMI that is going on, especially don't go for any personal loans. But if you have any other commitments, any other loans that is going on, you can think about reducing the tenure by repaying. So if you, for example, if you paid 12 installments, if you add another installment of 13th installment in the on the same year itself, your loan tenure will reduce by half. So think about how to prepay the loan, because once you are loan free, all your money will go to savings and investments. So that when you do all this, plan for your future. When you have all this rightly pay off, you can plan for your future, basically to set a financial goal. So how to set a financial goal? First of all, identify the dream. As I said, it can be your own business that you want to start, maybe a very small business, or you want to start you want to build your own home, you want to provide a down payment for your husband to build the home together, or maybe it can be your children's education, importantly your retirement. So first identify the dream, then attach a value to it. As in, let's say 10 lakh for this goal will be enough. 10 lakh for my children's education, 25 lakh for my children's marriage. So you should attach a value to it and set a time frame. How many years you are going to, from here you are going to achieve the goal, and assign a priority. Let's say if you are okay to have postpone your home goal for children's education, you must prioritize children's education only. You can deprioritize home loan or maybe their marriage expenses, but you cannot deprioritize your retirement or your children's education expenses. So you have to assign a priority and align investments accordingly, and then decide which investment should go for which goal. So I am investing in gold for my daughter's marriage, because I'm gonna gift her that. I am going to invest in mutual funds for her education, and around so I'm gonna invest 10,000 per month for that particular goal of my children's education. Around 7 to 8 years time, I may need a 10 lakh money. So have a clear goal, set of financial goals, and work towards that, so that you know when you think about it, when you have a goal, then you start work towards it. Then you think how money can work well for you, instead of you going for a loan, instead of you say dig all your savings and fund every goal. You find a way where the money that you invest will actually grow and help you achieve those goals. And with that, moving forward, Aishwarya Mahesh will take the session forward.
Are we breaking for Q&A, Archana, or shall I just take it from here?
We can take it from here, and at the end of the session,
We'll
we can
combine
have the
Q&A in the end. All right,
Yes,
great.
yes.
Super. Great. I think Archana has very nicely built the foundation for the first half. She's spoken of all the behavioral aspects that we need to be aware of, or that we need to start doing when it comes to managing our finances. Us as women, what all we need to do, what all we need to keep in mind, what are some of the mistakes that we have been making, what we tend to overlook. So we've seen the behavioral part of it, and now let's get down to some numbers, right? See, everybody has that dream number, right? For some people, it's 1 crore. For some people, it might just be 10 lakhs. For some people, it's 50 lakhs. For some people, it's 50 crores, right? So now in this, I'm so sorry. In this part of the presentation, we will see how we can build our own money mechanics. It does not have to be the same for everybody. Your tools might not be the same as my tools for me to walk through life, right? So how do we build our money mechanics to get to that 1 crore? Now, before we discuss that 1 crore, uh, see, we all know where the economy stands today. There's so much information that we consume. There's so much content that we get to consume. And I feel like all of that at some level also affects the way we think about money, or the way we spend for that matter, right? I'm sure a lot of you, I think I am one of them. Uh, what used to cost me, say, 100 rupees earlier is costing me 1,000 rupees now. Right now, that is a function of what we call inflation. Right? Inflation is the rise in prices. It is not valued at the same level that it used to be valued at earlier. So I'm sure some of you really enjoy your coffee runs, your Starbucks runs, or a quick Sangeeta coffee also, filter coffee in the morning. Right? But what was 25 rupees, say, 20 years ago, is 250 now, right? And uh, that's not a small increase, right? It's almost see, your thing is going up 10x. Your thing has increased about 10x, right? So inflation, it slowly and very silently eats into a lot of your dreams. You may have wanted to take a vacation back in 2015. You may have wanted to go, say, to uh, say to Sri Lanka or somewhere in India. Let's take Mumbai, for example. That may have costed you maybe half as less than what it may cost you now. And you may not want to do that trip right now because maybe your financial situation does not uh, provide for it at the moment. Maybe you saved up so much, but the situation back then did not warrant that you take that vacation then. So you have to ensure that whatever money you have, it grows faster than this inflation, which is why it is good to look for those options in investing where the returns that you make sort of beats inflation. Right? You have to be able to beat that inflation not just by a small margin, but rather by a larger margin. You can't settle for a 7-8% return. That's just barely taking your inflation. You have to uh, go for a run in terms of 12, 13, 15%. That, see, it's never not nice to be ambitious, right? It's always great to be ambitious. It's always great to want more, but wanting more is very different from greed. We should not get caught in that quagmire of greed. So inflation plays a very, very important role in uh, in the context of investments today, right? We are seeing inflation take that sort of lower trend, right? Current rate has gone to about 2%. So in that case, uh, you are still definitely beating inflation, but by how much? That should be your next question. Given where inflation stands today, I think most investments are beating that. but we have to see by how much. That should be the next question, right? This brings me to one very important tool in investing called mutual fund. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. I'm sure a lot of you are invested in other instruments, say a fixed deposit, or you have a direct equity, or maybe you're invested in bonds, etc., etc. Right? So, mutual fund. What is a mutual fund? It is a collection of stocks put together in what is called a portfolio. You can start with as small as 500 rupees or 1000 rupees, but the key here is to be consistent, right? And when you invest in a mutual fund, the advantage that you get is that the fund manager makes all the decisions for you based on the market cycles, right? Your your maybe only job will be either to go to an advisor who will advise you with the right set of funds depending on that cycle of the market, or you will have to do your due diligence in terms of what you want to invest in. But in case of direct equity, right, you have put all your money in that one company, say for example in HDFC Bank. So if that company does not do well, and that's the only stock in your portfolio, and it does not do well, if it goes down, say 10%, it's going to tank your entire portfolio, as opposed to, say, a mutual fund where there are other stocks which will compensate for this. They are not just invested in those big banks, they will also have other names in the consumption or the healthcare or the infrastructure sector, right? So the fund manager has to make that decision in terms of what I'm exiting now, what kind of positions I want to hold right now, etc., etc., right? And in a mutual fund, you get advantages of being diversified, whether it's with individual names or it is with sectors, right? It is SEBI regulated. There are mandates that come with various categories. And another big advantage is that you can map every investment or every SIP to a goal. Say you are doing 30,000 SIP across 5 funds, or across 6 funds, 5,000 each. Maybe the first SIP will be towards a vacation, the second will be towards your child's education, the third will be towards your retirement, right? So each investment can be mapped to a goal, and that is the advantage of goal based investing. And this is what you can do when it comes to mutual funds. And you don't really have to be worried in trying to figure out what company to invest in. The fund manager will take all of those decisions for you. Now, where we come in here is that we will tell you what we will, or rather, we will help you decide what will be a right fund for you, depending on what kind of an investor you are, how much risk you're willing to take, what sort of goals you have, what time horizon are you willing to be invested in it for, right? We will help you answer these questions and also map you to the right funds, right? And with this, you are able to take advantage of growth without really being stressed. You can let your SIPs, and you can basically do your SIPs, do the auto debit on your accounts, and maybe just forget it and maybe look at your portfolio after, say, 3-4 years. What started as 5,000, maybe, 5 lakhs or 6-7 lakhs. You never know, right? And that's the power of what we call compounding also. After a certain period, see, it's always good to be in it for long term, because you are letting your money grow. You're letting time do all of the magic in your investments. Another thing that most people think of, it's not gender specific, but it is good to be aware of risks that come with it. What is performance like, and basically some reality check. See, we all know that markets See, markets are no rocket science. It is going to be volatile, especially the current markets. It will keep going up. It might just keep coming down. Uh, It'll be flat sometimes, right? There's going to be a lot of movement in the market, and you should be willing to be stayed invested for that period, right? You are not always going to be in a sweet spot or your comfort zone, which is why the first point says that no growth happens in comfort. This is not just money related. Even generally, if you look at your personal life, if you want to grow in your career, it's not going to happen for as long as you stay put in your comfort zone. When you step out of it is when real growth happens. That is the reality check that you have to give yourself and your money. So markets will definitely keep moving, but that movement is what makes your money grow, right? It goes up. You're having a good bull run. You stay invested. You make the most of it. It's it's okay to take advantage of it when you know that you have reaped the maximum out of it. But panic selling, panic buying, all of that never works in anybody's portfolio, right? And here, this panic comes in only when you are not very clear or you don't have clarity about what kind of risk you are uh, able to take as an investor. When there is a mismatch in what your actual risk appetite is and what your portfolio looks like, that's when there tends to be a mismatch in your goal also. You are never going to get a good night's sleep if you are going to be such an antsy investor, right? It's okay to expect good returns, but that should not be your only factor that's driving you to invest in funds, right? So when we look at mutual funds, what are something that we look at? We don't do performance based marketing. We don't sell a fund just based on how it is performed. You have to look at a lot of behavioral aspects. You have to look at the fund manager behavior first, right? Uh, what is the fund manager's track record? How many funds does he manage? Has he worked in any other AMC before? What is his behavior like in the portfolio? Is he constantly churning, which is buying and selling constantly without any strategy or conviction? Or does he take calibrated positions uh, in all the names in the portfolio depending on the markets, right? And then you have to look at whether our philosophy, which is iThought's philosophy, matches with that of any other AMC that we are partnering with. If we are an MFD, right? We do mutual fund distribution via a lot of these AMCs. So there's HDFC, there's ICICI, there's Invesco, Nippon. So we have to make sure that there is philosophy alignment. If our philosophy, which is what we are trying to do for customers versus what the fund is trying to do, are not on the same page, then it's not going to work, right? We are not going to be able to actually serve your purpose in the process, right? So it's okay to expect returns, but don't let returns ruin your sleep, right? The goal is to take risk smartly. The goal is to stay invested, and the goal is to get that good night's sleep, even though you have a large corpus invested, right? We know so many investors, we see and interact with so many investors who are constantly looking at the markets and they're like, I don't know what to do. I want to sell right away. I don't understand what you are doing in my portfolio, right? It's okay to have these questions, but it's not okay to let these questions ruin your sleep, which is why you have an advisor, which is why uh, it's better to go through an advisor, rather, if I can put it that way. So you're able to clear your doubts at whatever time of the day it is, right? Markets will keep moving. I am repeating this time and again. Markets will keep moving. It's not going to be a flat line for you. You will see up, down, you will see spikes, you will see all sorts of shapes that come in the line graph. But a little bit of anxiousness is okay as an investor, as a human being. But to what extent? Again, we saw two aspects. We have to beat inflation by how much is one. You can be anxious, but to what extent? So margin here plays a very, very important role. So we have seen and gotten some reality check in terms of what mutual funds are, what sort of risks you can expect, how returns are usually uh, coming out for this, right? But as women, when we invest, not just in money, even when we invest our time in anything that we do, why is it that you think we win? I'm just going to let this be an open discussion. You can feel free to put your answers in the chat box. Why do you think we win in wealth or generally in anything that our time is invested in? Some of these things that are on the slide are definitely no brainers. We definitely hold longer. We have that patience. Panic lesser, okay, maybe to a certain extent, but I think we panic equally. But I do agree that we plan a lot better. We have a plan, we have a backup plan, we have a backup for the backup plan, right? And these are qualities that need to be there in any investor, irrespective of gender. We just have the upper hand because, I mean, we are women. We have been doing this for a lot of time in our lives, not just in money, but generally in life also. We have what it takes to stay invested for a longer period, right? And now the goal should be to make it grow. And of course, consistency, we tend to be a little bit more impulsive because we give in to our indulgences once in a while. But I think the trend is changing now. We are seeing a lot of data in terms of how women have been consistent investors and rather maybe better investors every single time in any cycle of the market. So this is what is required of all of you, rather, if I can put it that way, to win in wealth. I know we already are winning in some aspects. I think we need to bring it in fully and try and achieve all our dreams. Now, how do we achieve these dreams? Like I said, we start an SIP and we start as early as we can. Right? Say you are 30 right now and you've still not started. It's all right. But starting now, it that's what matters. Maybe you didn't start then, but starting now is what matters more. But if you had started early, that will give you a bigger edge. Say your first paycheck, you first invested, you saved, and then you spent the rest. That's the, I thought, way of doing it. But it's never a good idea to repent. Okay. It's all right if you hadn't started when you were 25. It is completely okay that you realize it now and you want to start now. So we always say this, the best time to start was yesterday, the next best is today, right? And the longer you stay invested, the more compounding works for you and it grows into a bigger corpus. So any SIP, not just goal-based SIPs, it uses compounding to your advantage. I'll maybe try and show you the calculator and that'll give you an idea of how compounding works. But it's very simple. It's time plus discipline, and that's what makes wealth work for you in the long term. This is the Kodeeswari equation. This is what we always encourage women to do, right? Belief times behavior into time, right? Anxiety is equal to 1 crore. How many of you believe that being anxious investors is what leads you to be a successful investor? It's a yes, no question. If you think this is true, you can show me a thumbs up. Otherwise, I will take it that. Okay. I'm very happy to see that all of you think that anxiety is not what builds the money, right? You need to have that belief, belief in yourself and belief that your money will grow and you'll be able to achieve your goals, right? You need that belief. You need to think of it more qualitatively in a more behavioral aspect. And of course, time will do its job. That's what makes the 1 crore. You just minus the anxiety or reduce the anxiety. And this is what we encourage people to do, all women to do in Kodeeswari and in our other programs as well. What builds the 1 crore is your belief, is your behavior, and how long you are willing to sustain this, right? So let's take this as our chance. Let's take it upon ourselves. This year. I think this year is slowly coming to a close, but we've had Diwali and we have the New Year's coming up. We definitely do want to start building our own investments, building our own corpuses, and start winning that money game. Right? This is just a small case study that I want to show all of you. This shows the magic of compounding and magic of time. You can, we are taking this example of just 10,000 SIP a month. We have this program called Milestones2Wealth, right? And what we do in that is we break down that big milestone into smaller milestones where people feel like they don't feel like that 1 crore is too far off. And they think, okay, I've reached this. Now I'm only a few more steps away from that 1 crore. So you celebrate the smaller milestones along the way. And before you know it, you have reached your first big 1 crore milestone and you're just going beyond, above and beyond from there. So regular SIP, we have assumed 12%, right? So the first milestone is the 2 lakh milestone, and then we have 5 lakhs. And after 5 lakhs, we have 10, 25, 50, and the big 1 crore, right? So that 10,000 SIP a month in 1.5 years is going to get you to 2 lakhs. In just 1.5 years, you will reach your first milestone, right? 3.5 years. So which means an additional 2 years, you reach your 5 lakhs. So that 10,000 a month for the same 12% return, right? In 3.5 years, you reach 5 lakhs. So 1.5, you've already reached 2. From there, another 2 years, you reach 5. Same 10,000, 3.5, you did 5. In another just 2.5, you are reaching 10, right? So totally 6 years approximately, you are reaching 10, which means from the 5 lakh milestone till the 10 lakh milestone, you have only 2.5 years, right? Now from the 10 lakh to the 25 lakh, you are going towards a much bigger milestone, right? And you have to give it a little more time. So from 2.5 years, now your gap is now 4.5. So in 4.5 years, you are getting to 25 lakhs, which means a total of 10.5 years to get to your 25 lakhs. And then you reach 50, you're doubling your result amount, which is from 25, you're making it 50, right? In less than 5 years, you have again reached your 50 lakhs. Compounding does its magic. Time is what is making your money work. So we saw 1.5 years, 2 lakhs, additional 2 years, 5 lakhs, and additional 2.5, 10, 4.5, 25, 4.5, 50. And in just 5 more years, you have gotten to 1 crore without even knowing. So say you started investing when you were 22. At 42, you will have your first 1 crore with just doing an SIP of 10 months. 10,000. Right? Now say you had coupled this with a step up of 10% annually. Instead of doing just 10,000 every month, you are doing 10,000 and increasing it by 10% every year. Or you combined it with a lump sum. Every time you got a bonus at work or you got some additional cash flow from your brother or your mother in terms of pocket money, you wanted to invest all of that. Now that maybe would have reduced your time of reaching that 1 crore milestone. So just a regular 10,000 SIP at 12% is going to get you to your dreams in ways much faster than you had assumed, right? So these are goals that you achieve without trying to time the market. You're just consistently investing and disciplinedly doing it every month. And that's what is building your wealth slowly and silently. And that's what we are known to do as well. We never blow our own trumpets in terms of achievements, right? We try to remain those silent winners wherever we go. And that's how we will let our money work for us as well. Right. So with that, I would like to close the presentation. And I hope we have tried and encouraged all of you to dream of building your own wealth corpus. And I also do wish that a lot of you have already started. If not, it's never too late. You can always get in touch with us. We'll be very happy to help you. And with that, I'd like to open the flow for Q&A.